I dare you. I dare you to surround the Black Knight and believe in me that I'm going to end the chapter. I dare you to do it.
I believe in Link Gear.
We're back! Did you miss us? Fire Emblem Path of Radiance co-op returns, and naturally with it returns the usual craziness that has been our Path of Radiance run so far. It might not seem like it for you guys because you've been getting a steady stream of videos so far, which by the way, if you haven't already, check out the Brom video and the controversy video that I uploaded this week. I think you guys will enjoy it. But for now, it is time for episode 8, and while we are still reeling with the sadness of the loss of the run MVP, Brom, I've since done him some real justice with the run that I uploaded last week, so I'm feeling liberated from my mourning, and it's time to get down to business. Chapter 22 was always a confusing chapter to me. There's the promise of an Ashera staff if you keep all the priests alive that I don't think I've ever used or I've ever done. You can also get some bonus EXP for every bishop you leave alive as well. I don't think we've ever really been in the business of keeping enemy units alive in this run, especially Speedy's Oscar, who's established himself as a certified priest annihilator so far, probably because he can't really one-round anything else at this point. But it also just doesn't really coincide with the goals of a run like this, where rushing objectives and racking up kills is a good idea. Naturally, with the loss of Brom, I need to start considering how I'm going to compensate for that void, and I guess it's time for the return of Leith alongside Kieran and Rayson. I only get 3 units this chapter, so we finish out the preps and get moving. I didn't think this chapter was going to be anything exciting since it's pretty straightforward. You just rush and kill the boss and the chapter ends. There are chests on both sides of the chapter, and a thief will attempt to take the ones on the left and run away, but I think they're more trouble than they're worth, and I don't really believe I need anything from them here, so I decided to just beeline down the middle. Jay is still ever so slightly in last place and has control of Ike, so he goes up the middle with him as well, while sending Tanith down the right-hand side to deal with a bunch of axe users. Speedy decides to go left with his party while sending Morim up the middle instead. This chapter, while not complicated, is actually kind of annoying, since not only do a lot of the enemies not move, but the ones that do have 1-2 range weapons with decent enough bulk that they don't get one-rounded. Kieran really struggles for kills in this map because of how it's structured, and with the Siege Tome Sage in the middle of it, I'm kinda scared to send Leith down the middle until he's gone. Rayson also hangs back because he's so fragile, and I don't want to make any placement mistakes. On the left-hand side, Speedy is trying to push up towards those chests with Oscar since it looks like he wants to chase down the thief and maybe grab some of those goodies. He positions Oscar in the choke point with Khalil not far behind, and on enemy phase, a Swordmaster walks straight up to him and does 11 damage, which is just a little bit strange because Oscar has pretty decent defenses. Of course, when we do look at it, the Swordmaster has a longsword, and that's why he did a lot of damage. However, that thief had just snagged a Spirit Dust and Speedy wanted it pretty badly, so he walked up far enough to get in range with Khalil and hit him with Meteor, which got him a Sleep Staff instead. I will say, in prior Fire Emblems, usually the thing that's stolen last is what drops from thieves, so I don't blame Speedy for this mentality. It was probably just kind of run-of-the-mill, you know, what you're used to. But Path of Radiance, from what I've realized, is different with its allocation. And I'm not entirely sure exactly how it prioritizes things, or if it's just the first thing that gets stolen, and I'm too lazy to look it up right now, to be honest, so correct me in the comments. Regardless, he gets the kill, but now realizes that he doesn't exactly like Oscar being in range of that Swordmaster with a crit rate on him and a longsword that can potentially one-shot him. So instead, he opts to move Oscar away and heal Khalil with Ilyana and let her tank instead. The interesting thing is that enemy phase comes around, and even though Ilyana has Shade, the enemy opts to attack her instead. The Shade AI mystery continues with this one, but Ilyana crits in return and kills the sniper, which normally would be a good thing since it means Khalil is probably safe here. But, as is the case with this co-op, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong, and the very thing Speedy was scared about happening to Oscar ends up happening to Khalil.
I knew Tormund would be okay.
Someone said crit incoming.
Oh no! It's the dodge curse.
I'm so sorry.
Oh my God.
The Swordmaster just walks up and crits her to death immediately. negative 25 points to SpeedyHawk. I mean, we didn't even get to consider that was going to be a possibility. It just happened. And if that wasn't enough, this now opens the floodgates and leaves an already damaged and poisoned Ilyana exposed to a tiger to run down and smack her for over 20 damage. On player phase, with 3 HP left, she takes 2 damage from poison. In Path of Radiance, poison damage randomly does between 1 and 3 points of damage, but it actually can't kill from what I'm seeing online, so she was always safe despite the chat saying that she could have died there. Fresh off that debacle, Speedy immediately retreats, but hey, on the bright side, he can use the forge for his units now, which he's always wanted to do. After that, I attack the boss with Kieran, who can't one-round him, and then finish him off with Leith, ending the chapter by turn 5. Kieran gets the map MVP, of course, and we move on to the next map, with Speedy now getting control of AIK. Chapter 23 is the annoying bridge chapter with a bunch of hole traps in it. I don't remember where they are, nor will I ever memorize where they are. Flying units are immune to it, but the only one I have is Rayson, so that doesn't really matter much, especially when the ballistas cover most of the map with their range. This will also slow down Jay's Tanith, which means Kieran will be able to run around mostly uncontested until the ballistas are down. I also get my final recruitable unit for the rest of the run in this chapter, which is Ronulf. He's stronger than Leith, but honestly at this point, since my Leith is trained, their stats are fairly comparable, and she might even be a little bit tankier than he is. But hey, I won't complain. Another unit is another unit, and the difference in strength will help him one round more easily, so I'll gladly add him to the team. We start slow, and honestly, even with Kieran's capped strength stat, without forged weapons, he is starting to struggle with one-rounding the bulkier units in this game. Early on in the map, a bunch of enemy reinforcements come from behind, and Speedy and Jay double back to deal with the entire squad with little trouble. Kieran continues to charge ahead and falls into a hole, and eventually Har shows up from behind and gets dealt with swiftly. There was very little actually threatening pressure on this map because green units also show up to help deal with the wyverns that come out near Patrine. But funny enough, if there's one thing I did learn from healing AI while I was doing the Brom solo, it's that if the enemies are desperate enough, they can run over and steal the elixirs from the bosses. I actually bring that up on stream that it's a possibility, and right on cue, the sniper runs over and steals Patrine's elixir, which is pretty hilarious. Otherwise, Kieran brawled with her for a few rounds before killing her and taking the objective for a bunch of points. He, once again, wins map MVP here, and that map was cleared with little trouble. Chapter 24 is the last chapter that we do this stream, and it's a bit of an odd one. I don't know what it is with the Tellius games and the obnoxiously long enemy and other phases, but this one has to take the cake with how many green units that are on here. There is a Savior Scroll in the Northern House that I'd like to get if possible, since that will let a unit like Leith or Ronulf rescue Rayson with no penalties if I ever get into a difficult position, and it'll let me use him more aggressively. The bottom left house has a Nihil Scroll in it, but I'm not too pressed to get that one since I wouldn't even know who I'd be giving it to in the first place. My plan is to just immediately rush the objective with Rayson and Kieran and just end the chapter as soon as I can because I don't want to deal with it for very long. In the preps, Speedy decides to allocate all of his bonus EXP to try and replace the loss of Khalil with Nephany. This is actually a pretty good idea, and she gets a few decent level ups, and he forges her a lance called the Pool Noodle as well. Funny thing that chat mentions is that if Speedy had just enough XP to promote her completely, then that would have actually taken him directly back into second place, and he wouldn't have been able to forge. But he didn't, so he hangs out there for this chapter and hangs on to his AIK access. Speedy also gets Bastion this chapter, and Jay gets Lucia and Joffrey after the chapter if all of them survive, which is pretty highly likely. Joffrey is going to make Jay pretty competitive towards the end of the game, with him having 2 high movement, pretty strong pre-promotes in Joffrey and Tanith. The chapter starts and Jay and Speedy split the sides that they are going up. Speedy favors the left, while Jay goes upwards. I take the north route with Kieran as well, considering I want that Savior Scroll while I bring Ronulf and Rayson to help a bit as well. This chapter is a bit of a deceiving one, since it seems like there's a lot of open space, but between the pressure of the flying units, the cavalry units, and the ballista, there's actually not as much true safe space on the map as we very quickly realize from Speedy's turn 1 misplacement of Ilyana. A Wyvern Lord immediately flies over and hits her for 21 damage. It's lucky she has Shade, but she was never really in kill range otherwise. Jay also continues to fly up with Tanith, unknowingly putting her into ballista range, and she gets chunked hard by the ballista and is now in kill range of the paladin that is close by. Luckily, he just has a silver sword and she has a billion avoids, so she stays fairly safe. Lucia also accompanies my units near the top of the map, really only the duo of Ronolf and Rayson, while Kieran continues to push forward. A couple of reinforcements come in from the top right corner that we fairly easily take care of between Jay and I, and Speedy keeps the center under control. By the time all of that is done with, Nefany had promoted, and Kieran is close to the objective point far out on his own, and our good friend, the Black Knight, spawns. One thing that was also debated during the stream that I'd love to hear the opinion of you guys on is the catch-up mechanics. I think we made them pretty effective for the person in third place to get back into the running, and I made very effective use of it when I was in that situation. But second place doesn't really get very many perks, making them feel like they're just stagnating in that position. I think the idea was that if third place leapfrogs second place, it would happen very quickly, and then that would allow second place to be in third place and take their time getting up there. But I guess if the person who gets stuck in third place stays there for a very long time, then that drags down second place with them. So I wonder if we need to do something to buff second place as well. I really don't have any bright ideas here, but I wonder what you guys think about this. Anyways, the Black Knight has spawned, and I see this as a fantastic opportunity. Of course, sabotages aren't available anymore at this point in the game, otherwise this would be a prime time sabotage moment to take advantage of to kill 1 or even 2 units by suiciding them on the Black Knight like Speedy attempted to do in Chapter 11. But alas, we have none, and so I can't really do anything, but I have the brilliant idea of doing a little test. You see, when we play co-op, it creates trust issues between friends. It's kind of like Mario Party when you steal someone else's stars. And so, I want to see if they still trust me or not, you know, for the content. So I tell Speedy and Jade,
I dare you to surround the Black Knight and believe in me that I'm going to end the chapter. I dare you to do it.
I believe in Light Gear.
to surround the Black Knight and see if they trust me to complete the objective or not. If they do trust me, and I betray them, they'll probably lose like 3 units. But if I take the objective, everyone lives, it's hilarious to end the chapter with the Black Knight surrounded, and I would have created a good piece of content. Of course, I was always going to finish the chapter. I wouldn't betray their trust just for the content in this situation. It would be a little bit too underhanded in a run where I'm already so far ahead, but it was a funny situation and gives us a bit of excitement for the chat. Although I will admit I was kind of tempted when I hovered over that end turn button for a second, but you know, I talked myself down from that ledge and I kept things peaceful. So we ended the chapter with no casualties, and the final score for this stream is 239 for me, 143 for Speedy, and 139 for Jay. Barring some extreme level of catastrophic failure, and with only 5 chapters left, I think I've probably secured first place here. It's still pretty neck and neck for second place between Speedy and Jay, but for now, Speedy inches ahead and gives AIK access right back to Jay. Between grabbing all 3 objectives and map MVPs this week, that gave me 21 points alone, and I think that's been by far the biggest point swinger in co-op. Kill points have also been pretty good too as a cumulative source, as overall I've gotten a total of 67 points from kills this run so far. To put things into perspective, Speedy is the next closest in kill points, and his total is 36 points from kills, which is 30 less than mine, and that's a total of more than a unit dying. Anyways, I'll leave you all with those numbers, and that's all for today's recap. I hope you all enjoyed it, and go watch the Brom solo if you haven't already, as well as my other videos, and I will see you all in another video very soon. We're at the final stretch, there's probably only a couple of more streams left. But until next time, peace.